the Public Works Committee meeting for January the 4th. Mr. Wilberton,
Here.
Ms. Gear,
Here.
Mr. Sims,
Here.
Ms. Nelms,
Here.
and Mr. Harden.
Here.
All present, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Can I have a motion to dispense the reading of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Nelms, seconded by Mr. Harden. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. All right. 010220, request for updates on Green Springs revitalization. Berkeley Squires Public Works Director. And so Berkeley's going to come up and give a quick update on where we are with that.
We received 3 bids for Phase 1, which is the landscaping portion, basically from Berry Road down to Raleigh. We had 3 bids come in. The first bid came in was Ground Tech LLC for $169,957. The second bid was Triple J Construction at $304,000. And the third one was Superior Scape Incorporated at $179,935. And we did verify on the low bid of Ground Tech with the traffic control. It was in his base bid. So I would recommend to the committee to come out of approval with Ground Tech LLC for $169,957 to begin Phase 1 of the landscaping on the Green Springs Highway project.
Okay. So we had already budgeted
Yes.
funds for this. So we need to go ahead and motion to recommend that out to council next week,
Yes, that's correct.
right?
So I'd like to make a motion that we recommend the low bidder on the landscape work on Phase 1 for Green Springs.
Second.
All right, a motion from Mr. Harden to recommend that low bid out to council next week.
Discussion.
Yeah.
Can I make a comment?
Okay, it was a motion by Mr. Harden, second by Ms. Nelms. Go ahead, Mr.
And
Jones.
our typical process is that this would go to council and then get sent to finance for approval. It is budgeted, and I know that time is of the essence here. So my recommendation on this is to send it out, and then we handle it from the floor in council and not send it to finance unless someone on finance has any issue with it. I think we need to move forward with it, and then in the future we'll on Phase 2 or whatever we'll have that in finance at the same time.
So
it doesn't slow anything down.
yeah, so that brings me up to a clarifying point, which is that this is the landscaping work, as Berkeley pointed out, that is basically all the median work from Berry up to Raleigh. We are going to look at going ahead and carrying over this item as we have been, but also I do need a motion to refer the item out to finance for that future, much
Yes.
larger bid on Phase 1, which will be all
Phase
the
2,
road.
on Phase
Phase
2.
2.
Phase 2, there will be all the
Yeah.
road work and everything.
That'll
sorry.
be the first week of February.
Right,
We'll have those ready.
okay.
You can do it on the same motion if Mr. Harden and Ms. Gear would make that part of their motion.
Okay.
I amend my motion to carry over, to recommend, what would we decide? Recommend it to go to council on
Ground
Phase
Tech.
Carry on.
Finance, yeah.
finance. Okay.
All right, motion?
Sure, second.
All right.
And that was Ms. Gear, correct? Not
Yes,
Ms. Gear. Okay.
correct. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Vote is 5-0.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right.
And then we'll carry it over also in your committee.
Correct,
So it'll be
correct.
carried over.
Thank you. 020920, request for consideration to work in the right-of-way to extend paving in alley less than 55 feet for rear vehicle access at 1512 Roseland Drive. Robert Fox, agent for the homeowner, David Bruno, and Wyatt Pugh from the BEZ. So I know we had a lengthy discussion about it last time around. Sure, if anybody is here to speak to it this evening, I believe we kind of left off with most of the committee wanted to see some form of design and what we were trying to vote forward.
All right.
And if you could state your name for the record, and actually there's a is a sign-in sheet up there? Okay, there should be a sign-in sheet right there on the podium. Thank you.
Does he have something visual?
Not sure yet.
Do you have something visualized that we potentially might want to put up on the screen?
I can come take a picture of it if he's got it.
Yeah, hold on just a second.
Just 1 second, guys.
Sure.
We don't have final engineering plans on it, but we do have a visual, one drawing. If you need to take a picture of it, put it on the screen, that'd be fine.
Brian, or Wyatt, maybe he's going to take a picture and then we can put it up on the screen there. Hey, Wyatt. Got it.
While we're doing that, can you just state your name for the record, please?
Yes. It's
Okay.
Mark Gonzalez, Gonzalez Strength and Associates, 1550 The Woods of Weir, Chase Drive, Hoover, Alabama, 35244.
It should be up in just a second. But if you'd like to start, you can.
Okay. Simply put, all we're requesting to do is to extend the alley, Valley Rose Land Alley, about 55 feet, something less than 55 feet, maybe 40 feet in that regard, between 40 and 55 feet. All the trees that are going to be removed have already been removed from the site, so that has already occurred. There are no planned improvements to the building other than standard maintenance, siding to be replaced, painting to be done, things of that nature. The request is to repair or to increase the alley in like kind to the existing alley that we see out there. And we will prepare plans and submit them to the engineering department as we would for any public right-of-way work that we were doing for approval. And the surface course will be designed such to match existing grades so that drainage runoff will stay like it is. And it'll be designed such that it'll support a car or a vehicle that would be using it under the frequency of a house that we see here. So with that, I'm here to answer any questions that I might be able to answer or add any other information that I might be able to answer. And we would request that we be treated equitably as the other neighbors that have access to the rear, to the alley to the rear.
Mr. Wolverton, I've got a question.
Mr. Wyatt?
So just to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, are y'all planning on laying something down on the ground, or are you basically just saying the part behind Mr. Bruno's house you want to make the same as everything to the east?
We're talking about, we'll remove all the topsoil, get down to subgrade, and put down a course sufficient to manage vehicular traffic.
Okay. Is that different than what's going on to the east?
It will be very similar to the east, yes, sir.
Okay.
Mark, thanks for the overview. So with the intent to obtain rear access and what is going on to the east, those residents, from my understanding, are basically accessing that from Linwood, West Glenwood. So just out of curiosity, has the property owner considered accessing from that same route as opposed to Valley Roseland, and what consideration has been given to that?
We're actually considering coming down to Linwood West Glenwood and turning to the, I guess that'd be the right or to the west on Valley Dale Road and extending it to the west.
Valley Place.
Valley
Place.
Road. Yeah, Valley.
It's Valley Place, it's the alley.
It's the alley off Valley Place.
Not
You got them backwards.
Okay.
Not you,
Apologize.
Mark. Nick's got them backwards.
So you want to come in from Valley Place? Okay.
Right.
Great.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I apologize.
So, Mr. Wolverton, I guess what the committee is doing here is, currently there's a fence on that alley that I don't think we've ever seen a survey that shows that that is anything other than an alley. I don't know that that takes any action by the committee or council to
That's right.
to have that fence moved off of the alley. And I don't know if your client is talking with that homeowner about that or not.
I do not know what his specific or discussions with the homeowner has been. I do know this, that he's ready to help assist in the movement of the fence up to $300.
Okay.
And I think that comes out of Wyatt's department, doesn't it, that the fence would be moved?
Really is. I think it'd be.
Well, I think what John is saying is that rather than the council taking action to tell them to remove the fence, that would be something the BEZ department would tell them. Is that right, Wyatt? If the fence is in an improper place, is that something that your department would handle?
Help me understand exactly what the situation is. If the fence is in the improper place?
Correct.
It's the fence, it's Mr. Mosley's fence that's it's in the right of way. So it has to be moved in order for them to get it.
Sure, I mean, yeah, we can definitely work with them, for them to move it.
And I guess what I'm trying to make sure is you don't need any action from the council to do that, to have that conversation with them, correct?
No, sir. Not if it's a violation.
So the only issue before the committee then is whether or not to allow the work in the right-of-way once the fence is removed.
In order to improve the roadway, or the alleyway,
Correct.
as described.
As described.
Tonight, yeah.
I think that's the only issue before the committee.
Can I make sure I understand?
I would love it.
Please.
Someone will make sure I'm right.
To work in the right of way pursuant to plans approved by the planning, building engineer, and zoning board. Is that what you're asking for?
Yes.
And I want to make sure it's to the same level that the rest of the alley is.
Well, it'd have to be the plans based on, I'm sure that PEZ would have to ensure that.
Yeah.
Right. In other words, the BEZ is going to confirm that whatever plans are offered, keep it at the same level as the rest of the alley.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve them to have the right to go work in the alley per approval of the plans by our BZ.
All right. Motion by Mr. Harden. In a second.
I guess I just wanted to make sure there weren't anybody else here to talk about it. I guess they're not.
I don't believe so.
So, Mr. Harden, in your motion, and when you reference the alley, you're referencing Glenwood off Valley Place, is that correct?
No, I'm referencing coming down off Valley Place and then coming down that side, so then you would hit the alley on a T, at the T.
So what is that called then if it's not called Glenwood?
It's not Glenwood, it's Glenwood. I
see.
believe that's actually just Roseland Alley.
It
correct?
says Glenwood, West Glenwood on Google Maps.
So, I mean, and that's the only thing.
That's what's on the plat, or on the record
I
tax
can't
plat.
see that.
Yeah.
Valley Avenue, so.
He's coming off of Valley Place directly to the back of their property.
Correct.
Down there.
He actually there won't be any turn. He won't
Yeah.
exist in the West Glenwood section at all.
That's great. I just wanted to make sure in reference to the alley, it was the one that's teeing in your motion and not Valley Roseland, essentially. That's my question, is not the straight through. Because if what I'm looking at right now, the focus is on the straight through alley and not the T. But what we're talking about is your motion is the alley coming from Valley Place south to tee into Valley
Correct.
Roseland to access
Correct.
the rear of said
Correct.
property. sorry if I'm making that confusing.
No, I think,
And
No, I
there's-
think it's good to
important
clarify.
that
Yeah.
we make sure everyone's on the same
Yeah.
page. We're talking about coming off of Valley rather than coming off of Linwood.
Right.
That's correct.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Harden.
Another question.
Sure.
Alex, do we need to know specifically the amount? My understanding is that there's a proposed amount to pay Mr. Mosley for moving his fence, is that correct?
I think he said up to $300.
Okay.
That he was willing to contribute to Mr. Mosley for the cost of moving the fence.
And that needs to probably be included in my motion too, I would think.
Sure, I mean, as long as that's a as I understand it, that's a proffer that Mr. Bruno is making.
That is a proffer Mr. Bruno is making.
Can
All right.
you amend in your motion to approve, upon approval by BEZ and contingent on $300 if needed?
Correct.
Up to $300 to remove the cost of relocating.
Yeah, relocate.
All right, so we have a motion that's been amended by Mr. Harden. Do we have a second?
I second the motion if we're referencing alley access off Valley Place teeing into Valley Road.
Which is
Which we
exactly
are,
what
it
I'm.
sounded like.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
I just want to make sure.
No, I
Yes. So
can't see it as well.
No, that's
but
fine.
I think that's what
So
always
can you
has
tell me
been.
again what you wanted to make sure your second was for?
It's for alley access to, or to, extend work in the right of way with the access off Valley Place teeing into Valley Roseland at the rear of 1512 Roseland Drive,
Okay, thank you.
Along with the,
along with the proffer of $300 for the fence.
Okay.
all right, we have a motion. Second, do we have any further discussion? Sorry,
Yeah.
Mr. White?
Go ahead, Juan.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, so the access from East Linwood, that's where the basketball goal is, correct?
Correct.
So, okay, so we're not granting access through that driveway.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is maybe this is the way to make everyone feel better, is the access that we are granting does not include the portion of concrete that comes off of Linwood, that will not be part of this.
Okay, good. And then just my general, in terms of walking it, I just struggle with this entire request, mainly because the homeowner who is working on the property at 1512, it has a very nice and long driveway, and typically we allow access, to get, the whole purpose of this is to get cars off the street, to make it safer. But when you have a long driveway that you can put two cars side by side, I believe, that's the only part I struggle with is why we need grant access. That's all I have.
All right, any further discussion, questions?
Already.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, I believe that is a 5-0.
Tepid.
All right, we're going to move on to, and I believe from where we just ended, Wyatt is going to discuss with the homeowner the violation of the fence in the right-of-way, and then kind of move on from there. All right. 02-11-20, request for consideration of franchise agreement for Ceasefire. Andy Gwaltney was carried over at our last meeting.
We need to carry that over one more time.
All right, we will carry that over one more time. And I do not believe we have any new business, so we will stand adjourned.